Hi there, Aziza. My name is Ellen, and I will be correcting your essays for you. I'm very happy to see that you have started the course and that you're writing essays. Great job. Let's take a look at what you did in this set, your first set of essays with us. The first one is about schools being more entertaining. Let's see what you wrote, shall we? Actually, before we start, I'm going to give you one big tip here now that it's the beginning of the course. Every time you begin a new paragraph, I want you to leave an entire line between the paragraphs. Paragraphing is really important when you're aiming for the higher band scores. Without clear paragraphs, you're not going to be able to get above a 5 in coherence and cohesion, okay? And you might say to me, well, it's clear where my paragraphs begin and end. Look, there's 1, there's 2. Yeah, but that's the only ones that I can make out. You see? So this should be 4 paragraphs, but it's unclear where the paragraphs begin and end because the sentences are going straight to the end of the line. And that's where you run into a problem. So for that reason, I want you to get into the habit of leaving an entire line between your paragraphs. Okay, now let's get started. It is commonly believed that education institutions such as schools should teach children using amusement techniques. This should be amusing here. While it is also argued that the one main aim of schools is giving education and knowledge, I completely agree that entertaining elements are crucial to exist. Well, this is awkward here. Are crucial. How about this? Are crucial in modern teaching processes, just get rid of that altogether, as they develop adolescents intellectually and socially. What did I say intellectually? I meant educationally and socially, sorry. Okay, that's fine. Be careful with words like this, adolescent. Adolescent is a very specific age group, and this is not talking just about that age group. And so, I understand that you're trying to find synonyms for children and students. You want to be careful to use words that actually represent what you're talking about and not something that is either something else or that limits what you're talking about, okay? So let's move on. Okay. Most traditional teaching methods are irrelevant for this is a little strange, a modern tendency. This is not a collocation that really makes sense. So let's try it a little differently. Most traditional teaching methods are irrelevant for our modern times. Generation Z have a free access to digital devices with build-up applications from early childhood, which make youth bored from one activity very rapidly. Okay, again, there's a little bit of some awkwardness here with this expression here, which make youth bored from one activity very rapidly. It's just an awkward expression. And I'm not really sure what build-up applications are either, to be honest with you. All right, but let's take a look at this. No. Let me try it one more time from the beginning. Generation Z have free access to digital devices with many applications from early childhood, which causes the youth to easily get bored from any one activity very quickly. Okay, something along those lines. It might sound a little strange because I know I'm kind of thinking and speaking at the same time, so I apologize. But that's more or less what I wanted. You needed some different words around here because it felt really rather choppy. The entertaining games during the classes might possibly change your word order, might possibly keep students' attention and maintain their interest in a particular subject. For example, a new method which was implemented into Swedish ISH schools where the science classes were held in a gaming manner increased pupils' attendance by 68%. Therefore, amusement and studies plays, you need an S here because the noun is amusement, the subject, plays an essential role in modern young society. Okay, now see, here you needed to absolutely a new line here. On the other hand, one of the main functions of schools has always been to raise the educational level of young people. This is largely because primary studies build a base for the youth's future life. This knowledge is a key in finding a professional job. Just a full stop there. For instance, a recent study of Norway University. Is this a title? Because if Norway University is a title, then you need to capitalize the U. Otherwise, maybe you just mean a recent study from a university in Norway proves that students who spend an average of 7 hours a day for studying are more demanded by well-paid companies. Thus, it is necessary that schools deliver their main function as an education center. So, conclusion. Educational institutions carry on considerable purpose. This is the wrong word here. How about educational institutions carry considerable responsibility, such as providing education to minors, either in a traditional or entertaining way. In my opinion, amusement actions during studies help teachers to catch students' eyes and improve their interest in studies. Okay, so the good thing about this, Aziza, is that you were really on topic, which was wonderful. Let's see. You were really on topic, and that was good. You were talking about entertainment. You understood the topic, and the reason I say that is because I find that a lot of people misunderstand this task. They talk about other things, but you did not. You absolutely were on topic, so that was good. I saw some nice examples of some coherence and cohesion, like of some cohesion specifically. Like you used this in a number of places. You used some good cohesive devices, although some of them were incorrect. Like here, for example, you used on the other hand, which you can't use unless you had on the one hand here. They go together. So it's rather strange to see just one of them on their own. You're supposed to use them both or neither. Okay. Now, I already talked to you about the paragraphing, which, as I said, would affect coherence and cohesion. I want to talk to you about two things. Number one, grammar. As you saw, there were some areas of awkwardness, and those are the areas that I really want you to work on, okay, to make your writing a little more natural. All right, I try as best as I can to give you as many suggestions as I can throughout all of these essays. But the other thing that I want to talk about is task achievement. Now, this is a which do you agree with essay. And you told us here that you completely agree that entertaining elements are crucial. Okay, great. So then my question is, if it's asking you which do you agree with, and you say you completely agree with this, then what was the reason for having this paragraph here? Okay, it's a little strange because you never gave us any sort of inclination, any sort of hint that you were going to talk about this, because you told us that you completely agree. Okay, so why am I bringing this up? Because this really came out of nowhere, and it seems it's going to affect it's actually going to affect coherence and cohesion. It's not going to affect task achievement because it just seems like an illogical kind of paragraph based on what you told us in your introduction. So it's a really easy fix though. What you need to do is you just need to address this in your introduction. I actually think it's great to have a paragraph like this. They're usually called concession paragraphs, where you basically concede that the other side of the argument has some validity. And I think it's a wonderful thing. And I think it's really a sign of a better developed, higher level essay. So great, yeah, include it. But there are some ways, there are some things that you need to do in order to include it and to have that inclusion make sense. So the first thing is to address that in your introduction. So rather than telling us that you completely agree, you need to have a thesis statement, a position statement, where you're essentially telling us while. So while there is great importance to academic education for a young person's future life, on the whole, I believe that entertaining elements are crucial in modern teaching. Okay, so this way you tell the reader that, look, you know what? There's some validity to both sides. Okay? Or if you're really like, I don't know, like 20%, 90%, you could say, while academic education is important for a young person's future, it is its importance is nowhere near that of entertaining elements in the classroom. Okay, so really just kind of say like, yeah, okay, there's a good point to this, but this is really where the importance lies. Okay, I hope that made sense. I know it's a lot of information for your first essay. Anyway, we do have to go on to your next. So if you have any questions, let me know in your email. Let's now take a look at your second essay about an enjoyable activity with a child. It is frequently argued that arranging entertaining practices for a minor might improve useful skills and creativity rather than reading any publications. Okay. There's some awkwardness here that we'll talk about in a little bit, okay? It's the order of your sentence. I fully disagree that reading plays a significant role in the development of children's identity. This essay will discuss both sides, using examples to demonstrate points and support arguments. Now, this is the same thing again. You're going to discuss both sides, but it's not clear to us why, because it said, to what extent do you agree or disagree? You've told us that you completely disagree. And so it's not entirely clear to me why you would then want to discuss the side that you disagree with. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Now let's talk about this. So it is frequently argued that entertaining practices for a minor, let me see if I can make sense of this. You know what the problem is? It's the rather than. It's saying, it's as if like you're comparing useful skills and creativity rather than reading. But you're not. You're comparing entertaining practices to reading. But you can't do that with this structure, so you have to change it. So let me tell you what I suggest. It is frequently argued that arranging entertaining practices for a minor might improve useful skills and creativity better than reading can. Okay? That's what you have to do. And then I don't understand this really, this expression, arranging entertaining practices. It's a little strange. I know you're trying to use a synonym for an enjoyable activity, but this one falls kind of flat. So I would like to see this reworded. All right, anyway, let's move on now. On one hand, it is very crucial. Now, you can't say very crucial because crucial is already an absolute adjective. You can't say that something is somewhat crucial or a little crucial or very crucial. It's just crucial. So it's either crucial or it isn't. Okay. On one hand, it is crucial for children to be careful with your typing, engaged in useful and enjoyable activities. This is because entertaining games help them to memorize information easily, and adolescents begin enjoying everyday routine. Okay, adolescence again, specific age group, and I didn't really care for this expression. What does that mean, begin enjoying everyday routine? What does that mean? It's a strange expression, and then you didn't actually explain it. So you need to explain it. Give us an example of what you mean. Additionally, using amusement techniques while raising young people makes, okay, because your subject here is using, parents, S' life less stressful. For example, 80% of Russian public schools have a teacher who is responsible for including entertaining games when creating students' daily curriculums. Therefore, creativity and several skills might be perfected with enjoyment. Okay, I want to take a look at what you actually said here in this paragraph because I have a couple of question marks in my head about the development. So talking really about task achievement here. So you said that it's important for kids to be involved in these activities. They memorize information easily when they're playing games. And then it makes parents less stressful. And then the schools in Russia use this. Okay, so check out what happened. These are not ideas that link to each other. So not only is it a problem of task achievement, but it's also a problem of coherence and cohesion. because you have your main idea here, right? Which is that kids memorize information easily. Great. Okay. Well, explain it to me. Support it. Give me an example. Give me some sort of an explanation. Go into a little further detail about it. But what you wrote here about the everyday routine and about the parent's life, like that felt very irrelevant to me. I didn't understand how that fit into this. So there was a problem with the coherence and cohesion. Then, oh yeah, and then actually this was linked to this. So so I was very confused about this. So you've got this thing about parents' life less stressful, and then all of a sudden you're talking about Russian public schools and the teachers. So none of these ideas seem to be linked to each other. Okay? So, and then what happens is like I said, there's a problem with two areas of the criteria, task achievement and coherence and cohesion. Okay? And then you talked about memorizing information easily, but you never talked about creativity here. So the fact that you're then including creativity also seems a little irrelevant since you never spent any time talking about it in the paragraph. Okay? So what I would like to suggest is, using the template as your guide, have one main idea and then explain, like ask yourself, when you write down that main idea, ask yourself why, ask yourself how. Okay? And if you can come up with the answer for that, then that answer to that why or that how is your support. Okay? And then the same thing with the second main idea as well. Let's move on. On the other hand, reading is considered as one of the significant processes in children's growing life. Just gonna say children's lives. Okay, no comma after because, and quite honestly, we don't start sentences with because. You could have said, this is because reading books with numerous colorful illustrations and images will definitely expand youth's imaginations. Okay. Moreover, reading makes people smart and intelligent. This is redundant. Smart and intelligent is a similar word, which might boost one's career. For instance, recent studies of Nikolaev College in Turkmenistan prove that children whose parents read books every night get to know approximately 400 words until 2 years old. Thus, these actions are essential in the development of children's brain, individualism, creativity, and not smartness, intelligence. Now, again, you're saying all this stuff in your conclusion to that paragraph, but you never actually developed this. You never said anything about individualism. Okay? Yeah, okay, you talked about creativity, but individualism, definitely not. So if you didn't express it in the paragraph, then don't mention it here. Okay? Okay. There are several ways to enhance young people's personal skills and creativity, which are beneficial in their future life. However, I believe reading is an efficient method for every family in forming an educated person. Okay, so let me see if I understand this. You said there are a lot of ways to help a child develop, but then you said, I believe reading is an efficient method. So in other words, what I understand here is, yeah, there are lots of good ways to help a child develop, but reading really is good. This is exactly the opposite of what you said here. You said, I fully disagree that reading plays a significant role. So this is really rather confusing. And it's absolutely going to affect your task achievement score. There is something in the band descriptors, I can't remember if it's at band 5 or band 6, but it says something about no conclusions can be drawn from the, from the writing. And that's kind of what happened here because, you said this here and then you said the exact opposite here. And so you can't draw conclusions. So I'm not really sure where you stand on this. Okay. So, I know we've been focusing on where some of the weak spots are in this essay and in the other one, but I did see a lot of good elements. There were some areas of language that were very natural. I see you are using some advanced grammar, so that's a great start. So hopefully with all of this feedback, you've got a lot of information to now tackle your next set of essays, okay? These first essay corrections usually are rather long because there's a lot of stuff to cover. But I think you're at a good point to begin, okay? So what you need to do now is you need to correct these essays based on the feedback in this video. and send those back to us. We also want you to send us an error correction list where you write down the mistakes and next to each mistake the correct version. And that's a list that you need to add to with each video correction you get back. And then, of course, the third thing you want to send along with the other things is a new set of essays. Okay, so go ahead, get started on that. Let's meet back here in the next day or so, and I'll be looking forward to it. Okay, so good luck.